Hi folks, this is Vicki at patternprincess.com. I wanted to show you the shawl that I'm working on. This is a little bit longer and narrower shawl. You can see it's not real wide, but it is a little bit longer and it comes all the way down to a point. All the way down to a point. And I'm using a Lion Brand Touch of Linen. I'm going to be using 3 skeins. What I planned, and each skein is 197 yards. I'm going to go until I'm out of the skein of yarn. So I don't know how many rows that'll be. I have just a couple yet. So I'm going to keep working the pattern through that. Then I'm going to add this one here. This one is clay. Then I thought that I would do an edge. I think that this would be pretty, just these 2 colors together, and wearing the shawl over your shoulders, just a little bit longer, skinnier one. So I think that it would be pretty just like this. So I'll make sure I do some photos just without this border. But then I have this one here too. And this one here is called Fog. And so I thought that this would make a really pretty, I don't know, I haven't figured out what I'm gonna do yet, but I'm gonna put some kind of a border that goes across the bottom edge of it. And I might have to get another skein of yarn, we'll see. We'll see how that ends up. I do have a darker yarn that's like this, if I really need to, that actually goes really well with these other 2 colors. So I might end up bringing in a 4th color, but for now, this is what I have. But I wanted to show you, this is a 2-row repeat pattern. I just wanted to quickly show you, before I join my other yarn here, how pretty this is and how easy this pattern is to work. I'm using a size H hook, and again, each skein is 197 yards. The one that I've done already is stone. I don't know if I told you about that one. That one's stone, and this one here is called clay. So we're gonna start this off, and it's just, once you get going, it's just a 2-row repeat. Very simple, very lovely. Another one that's really no counting involved. When I get to the other side, when I actually join this clay to it, I'm gonna decrease stitches though. So on the side that I'm working on now, I'm increasing stitches, and on the other side, I'm going to decrease stitches. So on this one here, what we're going to do is for row 1, we're going to chain 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And you're going to yarn over, and in the 4th chain from the hook, that first chain, we're going to do a double crochet. And that is it for row 1. So what we essentially have is 2 double crochet, because those 3 chains that we skipped is going to count as a double crochet. So we're going to turn it, and we're going to do a chain 3. 1, 2, 3. And then this is going to count as a double crochet. All right. So then we're going to do a double crochet on top of the, I should say 2 double crochet on top of the chain 3 that we used, that we skipped over. And I gotta look, here we go. So we're gonna do 2 double crochet. 1, 2. Okay, there's our 2nd row. Now we're gonna turn it. And we're gonna chain 3, this is the 3rd row. 2, 3, okay. Then we're gonna do 2 double crochet in the next stitch. 1, 2. And then we're going to double crochet on top of the double crochet from the previous row. Okay, now we have 4. So row 1, 2, 3, but we have 4 stitches. We're always going to have 1 more stitch than the row that we're working on, okay? Okay, so let's go down to row 4. I had to get some more yarn. So we're in row 1, 2, 3, we're in row 4. So we're going to do a chain 3. 1, 2, 3. Yarn over, and the next stitch we're going to do double crochet. And the next stitch we're going to do 2 double crochet. We're not quite to the repeating 2-row pattern, and then a double crochet in the last stitch, which is at top of the chain 3. We're going to turn it. Now we're in row 5. So row 4, we have 5 stitches. We're always going, remember, we're going to have 1 more stitch than the row we're in. So we're going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. Yarn over, and then we're going to do 2 double crochet right here. That very next stitch. 1, and each row only increases by 1. Once you do your increase like that, then you're just going to double crochet all the way across. So that's really simple. It's really a lovely pattern to watch TV with. I just love it. Okay, so now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and that's in row 5. We're going to turn it. 1, 2, 3. And then in the next stitch, we're going to double crochet. And the next stitch, we're going to double crochet. And the next stitch, we're going to do 2 double crochet. So rows 5 and 6 are your repeating pattern all the way through. And now we just double crochet whatever we have left. All the way to the end. And then we're going to turn it. 1, 2, 3. And then we're going to go into the next stitch and double crochet. And remember, you can always kind of tell if you get lost and think, oh gosh, where am I supposed to, am I going to do it? You know, where did I do it? So not this row, but the one below. You notice how I have my chain 3 space? Right here is my 2 double crochet, and then I double crocheted all the way across. So that helps you remember. You can just glance down and say, oh, this is my 2 double crochet row right away. So we do 1 more double crochet, and then we double crochet all the way across. So this is just a lovely, lovely pattern, and this is my rows for increasing. And then eventually we're going to decrease each row by 1, where we're going to double crochet 2 together. Okay, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And we should be in row 7. 1, you gotta look here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And I'm going to do 1 more row. 1, 2, 3. And then we're going to do a double crochet and the next 2 stitches. And I'm going to show you the rows below too. Remember I told you you can tell your stitches in case you forget. So 2 rows below, what do we have? We have our chain 3, double crochet, and then our 2 double crochet in that stitch. So that's another way that you can tell. So this one here, we do our 2 double crochet. So these are the alternating rows. 1 row you do your 2 double crochets. I'm sorry, my kids came to get a wedding card to see if I have one. They're going to a wedding, and then the dog started barking, and I'm back to it here. Sorry about that. All right, so we're going to finish this row, but then I'm going to also, after this row, so you can see the 2 repeating rows, right? Where we're going to increase each row, but we've kind of staggered those increases. On 1 row we have our chain 3, our 2 double crochet, and then our 2 double crochet in the same stitch, and then we just finish out with double crochet. And then this row here we have our chain 3 and our 2 double crochet right away, and then our double crochet the rest of the row. But the way that we have it started here, which are just our 2 double crochet kind of stitches, or chain 3 that counts as 1, it creates a nice little point. Welcome back, folks. So I've decided, I know when I was working on this part of the shawl, I thought I was going to use this clay for the other side, but then, gosh, it struck me the other night that maybe I think that the fog looks better. So I went with the fog, as you can tell, and then I'll probably do the clay as my border. And as I had mentioned before, I may end up putting 1 more color on here yet. That's another different color that I had 4 colors that went together. We'll see what happens. So I mentioned that on this side of the shawl, you know, we start with a little tip and we increase 1 stitch every single row. And then when we get here to the center, what I did, there's, if I recall, I think there's 61 rows or 61 stitches, so there might be 60 rows. But anyway, I'll have that all in the written directions for you on the website. So what I did is when I started my fog, I just did a crochet stitch in every single stitch across. I didn't do any decreases yet. So then this next row, I did my decrease. And then each row after that, I decreased by 1 stitch. And because I did this 1 row here that was in every stitch, when I decrease, I'm trying to increase, or I should say decrease, in the same places where I did an increase. Now I'm going to show you. So if you look at the 2 rows, so I'm going to be working in this row here. But this is the previous row, and then this is the next row below that. So 2 rows below. If you take a look, I had a chain 3, a double crochet, and a double crochet. That's that same pattern. And here in the what color is this? Stone, in that first color, remember I alternated where one time I would do my additional stitch in the first stitch after the chain 3, and then the next row I would do 2 double crochets, and then I would do my 2 double crochets in a stitch after that. So I'm following that same pattern, but I'm doing my double crochet 2 together. So anyways, if you always look 2 rows down from where you're crocheting, you can see this next row I'm working here is going to be chain 3, double crochet, and then 2 double crochet together. So then each row I'm going to decrease 1. So I'm going to show you to make sure that you do know how to do a 2 double crochet together in case you've never done that. So let's get our hook in the yarn here, and I guess I should pull out a little bit more yarn. Okay, so let's take a look at this here. We're going to do our chain 3. I want to make sure that I have my light on so that you can see is good. 1, 2, 3. There's my chain 3. And then in the next stitch we do our double crochet. And this is what helps make this a nice pattern that you really don't have to worry about counting. So again, remember, you can tell the row below that we had 2 double crochet together. So now in the next 2 stitches we're going to yarn over. We'd already yarned over. Put our hook through the loops, yarn over, bring your yarn through, yarn over, and go through 2 loops. And we're going to hold that loop on the hook. We're going to yarn over, we're going to go into the next stitch. Yarn over, bring our yarn through, and bring our yarn through 2 loops. So now we're going to yarn over and come through all 3 loops. So now we have done 2 double crochet together. And now we just yarn over and we continue to do our double crochets the rest of the row. Okay, so I'm going to do my double crochets the rest of the row, and then I'm going to show you how you can see the next spot where you have to do the next row. And just like you were increasing where you're alternated, where the two different spots, it's the only difference between each row, is where you're alternated, where you put that increasing stitch. Now we're going to alternate the same type of pattern where we are going to do our 2 double crochet together. So I'm going to finish this row, and then I'm going to show you how to do the next row. Here we go. Okay, I finished my row and I turned my work. So now, if you look, this is the row that I just finished. So if you look at the row below that, I have my chain 3, and then right here is my 2 double crochet together. And you can tell that, sometimes it's kind of hard to see, but you can tell, maybe if I put this down, get other yarns out of the way, out of the bottom, there we go. But you can tell because there's always like it looks like a little V stitch here, and each one beyond that looks, it just straight up above, each row above should be straight above the next one. And this one here, see that? It's not. You got these 2 that are above this one. So that's how you know we had a 2 double crochet together right there. So then this is the row, we're going to chain 3, and then rather than when we did our increase, our 2 together, when we did our 2 double crochet in the same stitch, now we're going to do 2 double crochet together. So it's this next stitch here, we're going to do the first part of it, yarn over, and then our next stitch, and hold, and then we have all 3 loops on the hook, and we go through all 3 loops. So we just started our 2 double crochet together on this side, and now we just continue doing our double crochet all the way across this row. So now you know how to find your spots. So this way you don't even have to count. All you have to do is look. to see the row below where you did your double crochet 2 together, and then you just proceed along and do the same thing. And then when we turn it, it'll be the pattern of, so I'll turn it, it'll be this pattern where we did our chain 3, double crochet, and then double crochet 2 together right there. Okay, so keep narrowing down your shawl. I actually think that this would be really, really pretty just without any kind of a border on it. I don't know what kind of border I'm going to do yet, but that'll be the next video. Take care.